Welcome to The Riff, brought to you by my-toronto.ca, where two internationally acclaimed artists, painter and animator Gary O'Brien and jazz fusion guitarist Jeremy Green, dig into Toronto's entertainment world with a special spotlight on our foodie culture.
Okay, hey everybody, welcome to The Riff. I'm Gary, and with me as always, Jeremy. How are you today?
Good day, sir.
How's it going? Here we are, another episode in, and high above the city, looking down on Toronto here. It's always quite the view. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, it's
up in
pretty
the,
nice.
up the Eagle's Nest.
Pretty nice up in the Eagle's Nest
That's
here.
very good. So how are things? What's
Great.
going on? Yeah?
Yeah, no complaints. Did the cottage. Cottage was great.
Good.
Sunshine, all that. How about you?
I was in Home Depot the other day, and so it was kind of we're looking for a new appliance, and on your way to the appliances, you have to go down the toilet aisle, right? I wasn't shopping for a toilet, but I took a look as I'm walking down, and I'm like, you know, some products always have to have like a certain angle on an old idea. They have to have a certain new angle on how to sell something or talk about how good it is or whatever the case may be, right? Toilets. How can you reimagine toilets, right? I know there's a Japanese toilet that do everything for you, but a regular toilet, what can be done? Well, in Home Depot, they have the mounted toilets on an angle, like up on the shelf, right? And they have the toilet lid flapped down with a piece of cardboard across it, like bragging about what this toilet has.
The magic of the toilet, yeah.
It's not so much the magic of the toilet, it's what this toilet can hold. And they measure it. There's one brand that says we measure this in like billiard balls. So we can fit 12 billiard balls down the toilet here. It flushes 12 billiard balls. And another brand says we can flush down a full bucket of golf balls.
Oh my God, that's insanity.
I thought this was. I was so curious by. I was intrigued. I thought, what?
Like, what kind of colon does the person who come up with that
I don't know
wording?
anybody that's came out of a washroom kind of going, oh, I think that was a good 7 stripes and solids there. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that happening.
Insanity.
But they're trying to do a
hilarious.
different take on flushing a toilet.
I don't know if it's an urban myth or my memory or whatever, but I remember something about a kid took a dump in one of those Home Depot toilets.
Oh my God.
And there's
what's going to happen?
no plumbing, right? It's
Yeah.
like just a toilet sitting there, but the kid sat down and took a crap in the toilet.
The parents are
That's
freaking
insane.
out.
This is like so juvenile.
Oh, well.
The joy of this.
Well, I had to, not that I was trying to bring.
Thank you for that.
Not that I was trying to bring toilet humor to the opening here, but it kind of was toilet
Nice.
humor, somewhat. Anyway, but
I'll never look at pool the same way again. Yeah.
I was floored. I was like, who measures that?
So how many dumps does a pool pocket fit then, right?
Think of the guy in the lab that's got to measure that out, and that's a 7 or 8 stripes and solids. That's a half a bucket of golf balls. I don't know, like maybe 36 Titleists.
Got
I'm
the
not
8
too
ball
sure.
in there, yeah.
Anyway, I was amused by that and intrigued and confused all at the same time.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we actually do have something to note right now that is a very noteworthy thing, and our producer Tracy has has achieved quite the accomplishment here, I think. And we'll show it off here.
Pull it up there.
So, Tracy, congratulations on your YouTube award here.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
My-Toronto has hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yep, for passing 100,000.
And they promote us here, and we're all very proud. And
Well, a
that's
whole
quite
team
an
of people
accomplishment.
is behind that, so.
There you go. So congratulations, Trace. That's awesome. That's quite an achievement. You should be very proud, and also for the short amount of time.
Yeah, under a year, right?
What happened there? If you can give us a quick,
what happened in that short 11-month span of hitting 100,000? Honestly, I think Toronto is just a growing city with very big international lure. A lot of people from Europe are using it as a vacation destination. It's definitely a growing city. They say to mark a city by its growth by how many cranes they have in the skyline. And if you look around you, there's constantly crane eruption in our skyline. So I think it's just on a very upward trend as a city. So I think it just speaks to that.
Yeah, you've been able to capture that too as well. That's great.
Yeah, very exciting. Thanks.
Well, congratulations. That's wonderful.
Congratulations, Tracy.
So we should get to our guest here.
Yes, we have quite the guest here, and I have to say she is a very interesting character. Sort of peeling back the layers here, you kind of get to, wow, this person's actually quite interesting. So we do have a bio. I'd like to kind of read her bio here. Our guest today is Sam Green. So Sam Green, known on stage as Sam I Am, is a multidisciplinary artist and DJ from Toronto. Daughter of Canadian jazz rock guitarist Jeremy Green.
The guy's a hack.
She discovered her passion for music through guitar at 7 years old. Classically trained, yet raised on the heavy riffs of Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and Children of Bodom. Sam has spent nearly 2 decades performing across various genres, including classical, blues, rock, and extreme metal. This bridge between worlds fueled her transition into DJing in 2024. Sam I Am's sets are as unorthodox as her musical path. Her relentless passion for the unusual and her ability to blur genres mark her as a rising force in the Canadian scene. Sam, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
That sounds wonderful. That's amazing. I think you kind of, for such a young age, you're achieving quite a lot.
Thanks. I still haven't gone down to Home Depot with a bucket full of golf balls. That's something I'm going to have to add to my resume.
They might be selling toilets there. You don't want to do that.
If you see the toilet aisle roped off at Home Depot, you're going to know why.
All right. So we've got a lot to talk about today. So I want to go back to the beginning and go back to sort of kind of where it all started. So where did you grow up? What was kind of like your upbringing?
I grew up just constantly hearing music, so I guess it's kind of no surprise that I ended up involved in it. From being in the house with him. Growing up with a dad like this, somebody who's actually a jazz fusion guitarist, a lot of people say, oh, that's really cool. That must come with so many advantages. And to those people, I say, have you heard jazz fusion? It comes with advantages, sure.
6 people have heard it.
The advantage of listening to jazz fusion and the advantage of being scared and confused at pop songs when there's no polyrhythms. It was an interesting way to grow up. So,
well, before we get into all that, though, tell us about where you grew up. Where was it?
Well, I grew up in Port Perry. It's a relatively small town, about an hour and a half northeast of here. These days, it is more of a kind of cutesy cottage town. The population's grown a lot. When I was growing up, there was a relatively small farm town with not a ton going on.
Okay.
So definitely a little bit different than this backdrop here.
Yeah, sure. Do you find that shaped you in any way in terms of your music?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you're bored, you get up to all kinds of no good. I was kind of fortunate to grow up in the era before social media really took off. It started taking off when I was kind of a little bit too young to actually take advantage of that. So when I was a kid, I was actually just bored with nothing to do, as unimaginable as that might sound to a lot of young people today. And when you're bored, you figure out things that you like. You figure out hobbies. You figure out skills. You practice things. I might not have had a lot better going on than just sitting in my room for 8 hours playing guitar. So that absolutely contributed a lot because, in a small town, there isn't really much to do, and especially not a lot to do if you're like a young child to teen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and you were such a normal child too, right? So you fit right in with all the normal.
Well, yeah, those guys definitely weren't down at Home Depot with the billiard balls, I tell you that.
No. Yeah.
So what made you fall in love with the music then? When did it first find you?
Like I said, I've kind of always been in it. I started playing piano when I was 4 years old. It was very important to you and my mom that I was introduced to music early on. And growing up, I just found that it was a way to express myself that didn't get me in too much trouble. It's definitely kind of a way to expand the 4 walls of my room into something different. It could have been anything I wanted, right? So just a way of exploring when I was stuck in one very small place with not a lot going on.
Was there, though, like I share it, obviously, in being a player myself, I understand that part of it, but was there a song or an album or something that made you had a lot of interests, right? So something made you really gravitate to guitar, and specifically guitar at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely Ozzy's first 2 albums with Randy Rhoads were definitely 2 of the biggest influences on me growing up. I still have a memory of being like, I think 3 or 4 years old, and then hearing Flying High Again in the garage. And I heard the solo and I was like, that's cool. Even at such a young age, I was like, that's what I want. I want to do that. I mean, it took me some time to actually start playing guitar, but as soon as I did, a lot of those Ozzy songs were some of the first things that I wanted to learn.
Okay, now would you say kind of like the learning of the guitar, has that sort of applied, or what's the change the approach to the DJing? Like, do you think the 2 are connected?
Oh yeah, everything musical is connected. When you're learning an instrument, you learn discipline. You have to, because otherwise you're not getting anywhere. It's hard. Especially something like guitar, where, if you sit down at a piano and you put your finger on the keyboard, it makes a noise. That's not true when you're a guitarist.
No kidding. It sounds
That's
like
not
clink,
true for a lot
clink,
of instruments,
clink.
actually. So the first thing that you learn is discipline, which is applicable to so many things, and DJing is part of that. But, as somebody who was actually a performing musician as well, and going beyond the music theory that you have to learn, when you're a performing musician of any kind, you have to learn things like how to read a crowd, how to move a room full of people. And that's actually a lot harder to do on an instrument than it is on, something like DJ equipment where you're playing songs, because it's all you out there. Being a classical guitarist too, it's literally just me. Like, it's not a band, it's me.
Right.
Being able to carry energy as an instrumental musician is something that has brought me innumerable benefits when I transfer that over to performing as a DJ.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a funny little story with Sam. This is when she was little. When all my kids were little, they'd do music lessons. And one of the things I used to do with them is take them to a concert. Or we'd say, okay, you get to go to a concert every so often. We'd go to a concert, or you could buy an album or something. It was part of their studies to do that. And so she kind of got older and older and older, and they were kind of aging out on that, and it was getting expensive too, right? So it was like, the concert tickets went through the roof.
Kidding,
and I was like, wow, I got to take these kids to concerts all the time. And so I told her, I'm like, I'm sorry to say it, but the concert budget thing is over. Like, we can't keep doing it. So we'll do some once in a while. And she's like, what? I can't go to concerts anymore? And I'm like, Sam, they're just getting so expensive or whatever. And she's like, she didn't have a job or anything. So she's like, pulls out her classical guitar and literally started going into town and just busking with classical guitar. She'd dig her music and she'd sit there in town and started making piles of money just playing classical guitar. She went up to Gravenhurst, up to the marina, basically anywhere where there was people with money and boats and, and stuff like that. And she'd go and she'd, put on a nice dress and she'd sit there and play classical guitar. And
but I think that's great though, because I think as adults, I think when you see someone young like that putting in the work and the discipline and having the results, because you're quite a proficient player. Like, I've seen you play several times. You shred. Like, you're fantastic. You really do. Like,
I appreciate you saying that.
No, it's great. Like, you're quite a talent. And I think when people see that, they're much more willing to support that too as well. So I'm not surprised you probably walked away with a ton of cash, like, just from busking. Not at all. And in just a moment, we'll be right back. Let's get back to the show. And I liked what you said there, though, about how expanding the 4 walls of your room, right? And obviously, like, with learning music and to the level that you do play, that's like another language, right? Basically. And I know that you also, outside of music, you speak 6 different languages. Is this correct? Is this?
Yeah. I mean, to varying degrees of fluency. I'm not writing philosophical essays in all 6 of those, but yes.
Okay. Wow. What languages?
Well, English and French I learned, obviously,
right.
English from birth. French, I'm in Canada, so that was introduced to me at quite a young age. As well, I speak Danish. Because of that, Swedish and Norwegian are related languages. When I learned Danish, I found that I could easily watch TV and, Swedish and Norwegian TV shows, so that came quite quickly. And I have a degree in Russian as well.
Wow. What's the hardest language?
The hardest, grammatically, it's definitely Russian. There's a few reasons why. Grammatically, it is more complicated than a language like English or French. It is quite logical, however. Something like French has quite a few exceptions, which you have to learn, and patterns to learn. And Russian is, to be honest, is quite logical, even though it does have a lot of rules. But the average Russian speaker as well actually has a fairly developed vocabulary. I think Russian speakers use more vocabulary just in a regular conversation than English speakers do. So it's a challenging language, and then Russian literature is also in a class of its own. So that definitely was the one that has taken the most time and dedication, and continues to be an evolving effort, I guess you could say.
Wow, interesting. That boggles my mind.
And you also a little Spanish in there too. Eh?
Oh yeah,
She won the Spanish award at high school.
Good old high school
with
Spanish
absolutely
class.
no background in it.
Well, they were going to put me into the cosmetology class because there wasn't really anything else. There was that I could have taken, and a grade 11 or 12 Spanish class, and then everything else was full. So I was like, take me out of this cosmetology nonsense. Like, I don't care about this. No disrespect to makeup artists.
Sure,
not my thing.
Of course.
But so they're like, well, we can't put you don't speak Spanish. We can't put you into a Spanish class. And I was like, well, could you do it if I got permission from the teacher? And they're like, sure, but we need it by tomorrow. So I went home and I studied all night, and I came to school the next day, and I asked the Spanish teacher if I could join the grade 11 Spanish class in Spanish, and she said yes. So she was like, yeah, you could do it. You can handle it. So yeah, grade 11 Spanish class got me out of cosmetology.
Yeah, no prerequisite at all.
No.
She ends up winning the Spanish award.
What a go-getter,
Like,
eh? Wow,
I haven't
good for you.
used it much since
the
then.
language
but-
thing has just been amazing to watch. Like
Wow.
she just picks them up like potato
That's
chips.
amazing.
Like,
Now,
incredible.
you started kind of at a young age with the heavy metal
Yes.
influence, right? That's how I remember you in terms of from in the beginning. What pulled you into DJing? Like, what kind of got you there? And was switching over to DJing into a sort of totally different type of realm of music. Was there any kind of resistance to that from anybody? Outside resistance, or any kind of pushback from that?
Resistance, honestly, no, because I don't think there is enough overlap between the two for somebody to have a problem with the other thing. Especially given most people who are interested in metal, and especially extreme metal, if you're getting to that point, you're already an open-minded person willing to explore unorthodox things. Most people who are interested in metal wouldn't have anything bad to say about a genre like techno, especially given that there are a lot of reasons for people who like metal to potentially like a genre like techno, or like house music. I mean, if you like stuff like grooving bass lines, if you like really the sensory, heavy percussive music, or even if you're interested in something more like black metal where it's texture and repetition, I mean, electronic music has all of that stuff as well. There's honestly quite a bit of overlap too. I've noticed some people when I go to techno shows that I've seen at metal shows, or that are wearing like metal shirts and things like that. So it's not as different as most people might assume it is.
Cool. I'm learning so much today.
I
swear
know.
to God.
It's crazy.
This is so new. It's great.
It's wild.
Now, because I remember you would always mention that too about like when you mentioned Randy Rhoads earlier on. You're saying how Randy Rhoads, he was like a classical player, but
Yeah.
done in that kind of aggressive hard rock way. That really, if you break down his music, it's all classical music from way back when.
Yeah, it was. He used all the like traditional minor scales and stuff instead of Dorian stuff that a lot of the blues guys used, and so I think that I'm not really surprised that Sam would go from liking Randy and hearing that to going, wow, this classical guitar thing's cool. Plus he did D, and he did some classical pieces himself. So
Yeah.
no, that's a big crossover. But that instrumental thing, I find that's kind of when I was growing up, my grandfather was really into classical music, and he lived in our house, and I used to wake up, and he was deaf. He had a hearing aid, so he used to crank the classical. So I'd have to go in and say, Grandpa, can you turn the Brahms down? Like,
Yeah,
it's just so like,
dun, 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 dun.
but I really, from a young age, through him, learned about instrumental music specifically, and I think it's a big reason why I ended up doing a lot of jazz and fusion kind of stuff, similar to her. Ended up doing like EDM and stuff like that, where there isn't actually a ton of vocal. It's kind of strange that a music that's that popular is really based on rhythms and music.
Yeah.
And not so much vocal. Like everything is vocal. But it's like if you learn to love actual music, the music tells a story, and I think that speaks to hard rock people, or like especially metalheads. Typically, there's a lot of instrumental sections. They seem to like the classical symphony
Sure.
approach. right? And I
Yeah,
think
there are also a lot of types of metal as well, where the vocals are approached more like an instrument than
Yeah.
you don't necessarily hear or care about words in
it's
a
almost
lot of
rhythmic
styles.
is more
Well,
so.
like explain more of the EDM then. Like, what's like, for someone like myself? I am total rookie in terms of all that kind of stuff. Explain, like, give me a kind of a house and EDM community. Like, what's all that about?
Well, I mean, anything involving electronic music, especially the stuff that's instrumental, I mean, it all kind of came to life around the idea of a dance floor and an experience. So, you're not just, the community of electronic music and EDM and house music lovers is not a group of people that sits on their couch with headphones on and just listens to, it's about having an experience. So a lot of that music, a lot of the criticisms that people have, people who don't like house music, for example, will say, oh, it's repetitive, oh, how can you, it's so predictable. But that's exactly the thing that makes it so easy to dance and to move to. You have a floor full of people who can just express themselves fairly freely without just looking like an idiot. Which is something I think that's important, especially for our culture where people tend to be more reserved. We grew up with such a fear of criticism and fear of failure ingrained in us, and it's almost alien for most people to express themselves. So it serves an important function, just being kind of a place for people to just let loose without fear of judgment.
Right.
And it also, if you can easily predict the music and you can predict what's coming next, it gives you sort of a sense of confidence to be bolder. And it's a really healthy thing, I think, for people in that sense.
Well, there is a thing in music, I can't remember, but it's that the drone, after you're listening to the same, if you put the same pattern on for, I can't remember, it's like 2.5 minutes or something, the exact same thing, you start entering into this like droning state where like people are like a trance almost. That's why they call it trance music and stuff like that, because it gets into that thing, and that's a real human thing, which I think goes back old, like to the days of pounding sticks on wood and stuff, like, or Morpheus in the Matrix, like these machines, and they're partying in the cave, right? They're not listening to Guns N' Roses. They're like dancing EDM in there, like boom, 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 right? So
yeah, there's just something about a lot of different types of electronic music that capture unbridled human spirit.
Yeah, because I guess not just the sound, it's not just audio. There's a movement element to it. I guess that's part of the vibe. That's
exactly. And that's one of the things that actually makes it pretty intuitive when you're switching over from something like metal. Anyone who's ever been to a metal show can tell you that that's a very important element, because you have entire, like, a pit full of people just, like, crushing each other, but they're all friends and happy and consenting to it.
What's the biggest surprise then, going from guitar to DJ? Now that you're kind of full-on DJ, what would you say was the biggest surprise transitioning from the guitar world to this new EDM?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't say that there were a lot in terms of surprises. I mean, being a performing musician, especially in Toronto, is something that I had a lot of experience with. I guess I would say one surprise is that, there are actually a lot of places where you can go and you can see DJs and you can see people playing house music. That's something that's a lot bigger than I think people realize. And another thing that's surprising is more people like it than you would think. And it's a lot of the time it's people that you don't even think would like it, and maybe they don't even know they like it. But a lot of the time I've been DJing and playing something like house music, and people are like, what is this? This is really awesome. So, that's kind of a surprise. The other surprise, too, really, is just that, a lot of venues over COVID really closed. And that was one of the catalysts that kind of got me more into DJing. I was always a kind of a live instrumental musician. I was a guitarist. During COVID, unfortunately, we saw a lot of venues closing down. It's honestly, from what I've experienced, easier to get a gig as a DJ than it is to get a gig as a guitarist. There's a lot more places you can do it. I mean, you can see that in all these kind of pop-ups happening all over the city. You can see it in the success of things like the Coffee Party, where they've their whole thing is just, having a DJ play in a cafe or a coffee shop. And these things are exploding to a degree that, you don't see something like a classical guitarist in a coffee shop exploding.
Well, and you've got a residency at the Boxcar Social, right?
Yeah. yeah, exactly. I mean, ours isn't a coffee party. It's more just a day party.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of what we do is just we want to make a space for people to come together and discover something new. So we have it in the Boxcar Social location on the Harborfront. It's a great spot. It's a lot of foot traffic, beautiful view on the lake. And I want people to just come and have a nice time. They can stand up and dance if they want or not. We've got stuff to cater to everybody. I don't know if anybody here has been to Boxcar Social, but they have a phenomenal list of alcoholic beverages, and then they also have amazing coffee, great food too.
Yeah,
so
that's a great place.
It's kind of an all-around.
It's a really kind of a hidden gem down here for, like, if it's morning and stuff, it's really chill. You go down there, the water's beautiful. They have the food's good. It's great. Yeah, it's a great venue.
Hey, we're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. And now, back to the show. And speaking of venues, and what venues or events matter most to you? Like, which ones do you find like the most meaningful, or the ones you like the best in terms of social, your DJing and hitting that kind of vibe?
To be honest, I like the renegade thing. I love the idea of just being on a beach with like some DJ equipment and some speakers and just having a good old-fashioned party. And not that the more formally organized events aren't fun. They're absolutely awesome too and necessary. But I mean, I think there's nothing quite like the spirit of just kind of showing up somewhere. We have these random parties all over the city, Cherry Beach, under certain overpasses, kind of all over the place, where it's really just kind of people showing up to listen to music and to hang out and to dance and not really a mind on profit. It's just, those are my favorite things because those are the ones that really create the special moments. And, you have people out dancing until sunrise. Like that's
pretty neat.
It's a whole separate world that I think a lot of people have not experienced. So it feels special.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you're pretty active in like forming the community down here. You do a lot of that kind of really cool stuff. Like one of the events that Sam is responsible for is this thing called a low-res party where she goes around. It's kind of offline stuff. She doesn't do much promotion digitally online, but she'll go around the city and just pin up these like really low-res posters that are just like a sheet of paper with some stuff on it and saying, come to this party, and they go and everything is like all the cameras they're using are disposable cameras or
oh, really?
Just the shitty digital, not a phone. Like, so all the pictures are all gritty, like the old 80s photos.
The low-res part of it all.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Cool.
But it's and they do it at, where do you do that?
That is at Free Play Toronto. It's a 300 College Street. Shout out Free Play. They're a great venue. We love working with them.
Good.
They're a 2-story arcade bar. We love them because, their whole team is great, but like free arcade games and it's only $10. Like, okay, sign me up. Very affordable too. They have great food, good drinks. All around awesome venue. So we're very happy to work with them on low res.
Wow. So, okay, now here, what about you're doing your DJing, multiple gigs that you've been doing. What has happened in regards to technical issues that have come up, that have come your way and you have to solve it? What did you learn from that?
It not always happens, but it happens very, very commonly. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're playing an instrument or you're a DJ or anybody performing live knows things go wrong and the show must go on, right? For most DJs these days, you rely a lot on digital technology. You have gear that has computerized components in it. It's got compute, and it's reading out your music. And a lot of people are, I guess, reliant on the supports that come from that. For example, you can see your waveforms in front of you, like you can kind of see a little bit ahead of where the song is playing. Whereas back before all that came out, you have to actually know the song, like to know, it's dropping here, or it's gonna actually build for a couple extra bars. That isn't intuitive. So that's changed a lot about the way that people DJ, but I know that personally, like my experience of performing live has taught me that things happen. So I don't like to, I like to learn how to use any gear. I spin vinyl at home. I don't gig that because I don't want to carry crates around.
The one thing though that I remember when I was kind of finding out more about you online in terms of researching here, how you mentioned the waveform stuff and how when that failed on you, your technology failed on you, you actually had the ability to kind of just go by ear and feed the crowd what they want, but without the waveforms and matching up visually to the technology or the precision of that, you were actually able to do it kind of organically. with just hearing the beats and doing it that way.
Using those old-fashioned things called ears.
Ears,
right?
yeah, there you go. Tell us about that.
I turned on the ears button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember posting about that recently because there are a lot of the DJ community on the internet, I think like most communities, is kind of hilarious in terms of it's just people arguing about the dumbest stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of people arguing about like, oh, you know, people are complaining about the youngsters these days using waveforms, but, you know, then there's the other camp of people that are just like, no, we should all be using as much technology as possible. It's a dumb argument because you're a better DJ if you can do all of it. So I wanted to prove a point, but I happened to have some footage of like the screen going down on a controller that I was using. Yeah, I mean, it happens sometimes that things break and you're not going to see the waveforms. Sometimes in that particular case, I couldn't even see what BPM the music was. It's a good thing that I actually know how to use older technology, and I know how to actually beat match by ear. So me putting out that video was just kind of showing a really good and very recent example where I actually had footage of that happening and what I did about it.
Right.
And, you know, if I was only relying on digital technology, that would have been the end of the night. It would have been, you know, I had to shut it down or restart everything, see if, you know, just start troubleshooting. But, you know, if you can just hear things with your ears, like you actually, it turns out you listen to music with your ears instead of your eyes.
One of the great things I see about DJ stuff these days is that it's easy to do to a degree. So the barrier for entry is quite low. But one of the worst things about it is that the barrier for entry is quite low, right? So you get like some dudes out there who can't count to 4.
Right.
They can't feel a basic beat, a basic bar of measure of music to line it up. And they can't feel the downbeat and they don't know where that is. And so they're coming in on weird spots because it's like, you know, the other way, the old way, like it was so difficult to learn an instrument that by the time you got to a performance level, that was old hat.
You've solved
like,
all that, yeah.
For her to hear 1 is like, it's very easy for that, but it's like...
Well, that's the musical training. Like that's all that coming back into play there, I'm sure,
Well,
too,
exactly,
as well, right?
yeah.
You can, you know, your ear training and all that kind of stuff
and it
totally helps.
And it is great that people can do that and express themselves and have fun and learn about that, but yeah, I can see where when that screen goes off, because there's a lot of people who are visual, because on a waveform you can see when it's
match the spike in the
there it is. So you
yeah.
just line up the spikes and off you go, right? But
it's kind of crazy watching some people not be able to hit play on their drop because they can't see a screen, which is crazy to me. Like I know all the songs that I'm playing.
Okay.
So, you know, even if I don't have a screen, I can just hear and be like, oh, the drop is coming. But some people can't do that. And I mean, it's kind of not anybody's fault, really, because, I mean, a lot of people learn these days through YouTube, through online platforms. And the great thing about learning stuff from the internet is that you can learn anything you want at any time, but kind of one of the drawbacks is that you don't have a curriculum. When you learn from a teacher, you're learning, there's a learning path. Like you learn certain things at certain times. You learn important things that maybe you don't want to learn, but you should because they're good for you. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that they want to learn, they want to be better, and they just don't, you know, the internet doesn't give that to you. It just provides you with a ton of information.
That's the same in guitar and like old music as it is in new music. Like some of the tutorials, people are just cherry picking.
Yeah, people cherry. Well, I mean, I don't blame them. Like if I was just starting out as a guitarist, like if I would see an F chord and be like, ew, I'm not doing that.
It's pretty wild though, because you see some players who are like incredibly proficient at like doing the lead kind of stuff, but their chording is terrible, or they have no pocket, there's no rhythm. They're like they just totally skipped over that and went into more advanced stuff because that's what they like, and that's cool. But you're right, like it creates these weird pockets of lack of a knowledge of the thorough, like the old process, it was thorough. It went through the whole thing, but that's gone now. It's
people also too with you're talking like a curriculum, a certain kind of step by step to learn and kind of go forward with that. But there's also the kind of the unwritten stuff that you have to provide for a crowd that's got to keep the energy up, right?
Yeah.
You can't teach that. There's no real manual on how to sort of keep a crowd energized.
The only way that you can do that is 10,000 hours of doing it.
Experience.
You just have to do it over and over and over again, and you have to fail at it a whole bunch of times. And it's easy to forget that music is a trade. You're supposed to learn from somebody. That's how it's been since the first caveman clicked some rocks together, right?
Yeah.
The first thing he did was click some rocks together, and the second thing he did was show some other guy how to click rocks together so they could jam. It's a trade. You got to learn from people if you want to be better, and that involves doing things you don't want to do. And that's part of the reason why I have initiatives like Track Factory, which I just launched. So Track Factory, it started out just as a series of open decks events that I was doing, where basically anybody can just come, there's DJ equipment, you can just come, plug in your USB, and you can play. But I mean, I wanted to build a community out of it, so we're doing a repeated series of open decks events. For these ones, we're partnering with IDK Social Bar over on Ossington, and we also have a group chat. We have a whole community that we're building around it, where people can learn from each other. Because I think this is especially true for people that started learning during COVID, but I mean, there's all these people that kind of learned how to DJ in a vacuum, and it's easy to just go on the internet and shit on these people, right? Like, to just make fun of them, like, oh, this guy doesn't know when to press play, what an idiot. Well, I mean, a lot of those people want to be good at it.
Sure, yeah.
They don't want to be bad at that. Like, they want to actually be able to do it well. And so it's better to group together and teach these people and to learn from people who are better than you. So that's part of the Track Factory initiative, is we want to have a whole group of people that are able to learn from each other, that are able to teach each other how to get better. And doing that protects the industry as well. I mean, you as a musician know the huge issues that come with random people just kind of, they want a gig, so they just show up to a bar, they just rock in, they're like, yo, I will play here for free.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We have a whole industry of people expecting to receive music for free.
Right.
And that goes for any, if you're a guitarist or what, people, like all of these establishment owners have been trained that this is now free because of people like that walk in and they're like, I want an opportunity. And the opportunity for them is, so worth it that they will undercut everybody else to get it.
You're getting paid in exposure.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
But we get that as visual artists too. Like, well, hey, do this like amazing piece of artwork and you're going to get some exposure. Well,
but they don't.
Sorry,
It doesn't pay the rent.
exposure
I think
doesn't
that's
pay me.
the plague of every creative is
Right.
exposure bucks.
Right.
But it's like I said, it's easy to shit on these people and say, oh, they don't know how to do what they're doing, and then they turn, people who will post something like that on the internet and then go and complain that they're getting undercut at a bar and they can't get gigs that pay because they're not interested in teaching these people how it works. Mm-hmm. These guys don't know how it works, and if you don't want to teach them, how are they supposed to understand that what they're doing is worth money?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I think anytime anyone picks up any kind of musical instrument or learns music, it's a positive. Like, it's a good thing for the world. Better than out there
I always
shooting
call
people or doing drugs or doing all this other stuff.
Yep.
At least if you're doing drugs, do it while you're doing an instrument.
I consider it a superpower. If you put the time in to learn an instrument like that and you've mastered it, that to me is a superpower. To entertain a crowd, that to me is, those kind of intangibles that are really important, right? It's I like that. I think that's great.
And just like that, something appears.
So, Tracy has entered with some delicious snacks here. Wow. She has this awesome. Wonderful ritual of feeding people, and it has just happened. Tracy strikes again.
God. All right, Tracy, while we try this.
Hey guys, I love that you're my
it?
guinea pigs once again for the wonderful world of international flavors that Toronto, the city, brings to us on a regular basis. So because Toronto is a big city with a population of 6.5 million people and growing, it is lost on some that we have this very personal relationship with our foodie peeps in our hoods, such as our favorite corner butcher or neighborhood grocer, which brings me to introducing Alex Farm Products. 30 years in the foodie business, a well-established cheese specialty store located in the St. Lawrence Market, which is itself ranking as the world's best food market by National Geographic. We love chatting with Byron especially, who has expert knowledge in all things cheese, giving us samplings of their curated line from all over the world. So he's one of my-toronto's personal cheese dealers, and if you love cheese, you need to connect with Byron. So if you look at the plate in front of you, and you guys have already been digging in, I see.
Oh my God, I can't speak because
Unbelievable.
I'm eating all this nice tangy
So the first
cheese.
one that I've labeled is La Tour. It's a soft, creamy Italian cheese from Casificio dell'Alta Langa in Piemonte. Excuse my Italian
accent, made from a blend of cows, sheep's, and goat's milk. It was one of the first go-to things that Byron told me to throw on my charcuterie board. So you always need to listen to Byron. Its wrinkled, edible rind and mousse-like interior offers a luxurious, spoonable cheese. And it's only aged for about 10 to 15 days, but yet it's got this really strong texture. And Jeremy, this is actually from your favorite wine region, Piemonte, or Piedmont. He loves his reds from there,
Barolo,
apparently.
baby.
Number 2 is a Dutch aged for 6 months called Excentrique, and it's a Gouda-style cheese, only aged 6 months, like I said. It features a creamy texture and rich flavor crafted sustainably with traditional methods by a family-owned estate. And then number 3, now Byron was telling me to go through these 1, 2, 3s, kind of like a cheese flight. So I don't know how you guys are digging in there.
Yeah,
but
I kind of
think you're
screwed that
just
one up.
diving
I
in.
just looked at them all and
Right. So number 3.
There's been a
I
terrible
failed,
mistake.
but
Yeah.
I enjoyed, but I failed.
And
it.
he says there's no rules. So,
Okay.
Byron is totally
Thank you,
okay
Byron.
with what you're
Sorry,
doing.
Byron.
So the third one is a Spanish Manchego cheese, and it provides a richer, more complex flavor than the younger Manchego cheeses. He dove on this right away. He's like, yeah, you got to have this. It's distinctive for its herringbone patterned rind. And then number 4, again, I think Byron loves his Dutch cheeses because then he threw in a 2-year aged Picobello or Picobello. It's a Dutch Gouda-style cheese. So number 1 compared to number 4, there's a 2-year aging difference with that. And then finally, number 5, it's an Alex Reserve Cheddar, and it's aged 12 years. So there's some love that went into that one. It goes for about $17 for a 0.2 kilogram portion. It's a complex cheese with sharp, intense flavor. It develops that rich crystallization. You ever bite into an old cheese? It's got those little crunchy nuggets. So let me tell you about a little science behind that. These crystals contribute to a pleasant crunch and are signs of a well-aged cheese because it comes from calcium lactate and tyrosine crystals that happens in a very well-done aging process.
Yeah, I was going
Wow.
to say that's definitely
That's
those
crazy.
crystals.
Fun.
So again,
Wow.
one of our favorite things is the St. Lawrence market here, and everybody thinks it's this overwhelming, huge market, but it's got such a personal feel with
It's like
your-
a small town in there. It's like,
Yeah.
Years ago, it's funny. 30 years ago, when I used to work right down over here, we used to, for lunchtime, we'd go into the St. Lawrence market, and sometimes we'd just get like a loaf of bread and some cheese or some meat or whatever. And so I started going, if you go in the St. Lawrence market from the front, you go right to the back door, just to the left. That's where the cheese guys are.
Okay,
And
yep.
I went in there and I met Byron like years ago. Started buying from him, and now every time I go in there, he recognized. Now we're kind of like on first name basis, and it's like, but
That's
the guy,
good. That's nice.
He's been my cheese guy for like ever. Like you just every walk in there, you got an event, you go,
You
hey,
got a
man.
cheese guy.
You go, yeah, I got a cheese guy.
Wow.
That's
And
awesome,
honestly,
How
right?
can I
Jeremy
acquire a
took-
cheese
Yeah.
dealer?
Well, you
I
can
want a
go
cheese
see the
guy
guy,
now.
Can I
man.
just
He's
like
the best.
be
right?
at a party at 3 in the morning
It's
and
like
call
a
him up?
dealer. Oh God,
Yeah.
you need a picobello, like bad, like yeah. No, he's awesome. He's great. But like whenever we have an event or whatever, if you're gonna like entertaining some people, you can just walk in there and talk to those guys, and they just say, set me up. And they
He'll
just
feed you right there too.
Wow.
It's incredible.
His
I-
samplings are pretty
Yeah,
generous.
free. It gives you a sample of the cheese and all that stuff. It's
See,
just
I like that.
Yeah,
I have an
he's-
air conditioner guy, but I need a cheese guy now.
cheese
That's
guy's
awesome.
way better. than
Yeah,
air
a
conditioner
mechanic?
guy.
Yeah, got one.
got
Cheese
one.
guy? No, I don't.
You don't,
I
yeah.
got to get one.
But yeah, the St. Lawrence market's like that though. Like she said, it's like a small town over there. Like it's the same vendors
Oh, yeah.
for years and years and years and years.
Oh yeah, I've been there plenty of times,
It's
and
great.
it's reliable because it's the
Yeah.
same, the same. But that's the beauty of it because
We
you
got
can
our
get all that there.
Fruit guy in there,
Yeah.
cheese guy, whatever. They're all there and they're
Yeah.
amazing. It's
Sam,
always
what'd you
great.
think?
Oh, right now I'm just wondering how many of these you think you could fit in a Home Depot toilet.
Oh, my
But
oh dear.
no, phenomenal.
We're going
St. Lawrence
back.
Market. I used to live just down the street from there. That was my grocery store. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Just everything in there is phenomenal. Can't go
it's-
wrong.
It's amazing.
Yeah, well, what we like to kind of promote, local foods here in Toronto on the Riff. So, I'm glad you enjoyed. Like, they're fantastic. Thank you very much, Tracy, for bringing that. That's
Yeah, that was delicious.
to the St. Lawrence Market people. Much appreciated. Stuff was great. Thoroughly enjoyed. Any favorites?
I like the picobello.
Yeah.
What do you say? Picobello. Yeah, that stuff's amazing.
No, it was good. They're all good. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Can't go
I couldn't
wrong.
speak because I was chewing on tangy cheese. It was great. Now, okay. just as we've kind of talked about peeling back the layers of all is Sam, I have another thing that I'm going to throw at you in terms of to talk about, because we talked about, guitar and DJing and stuff like that. You are self-proclaimed DJ and motorsports addict. So there's a whole car element to you that we'd like to find out.
Yeah, well, I love cars. I love motorsports. I spend a lot of time working and volunteering at basically any local motorsports thing that you could think of, really. Notably, I do a lot of work with CSCS racing, which is always super fun. We actually have a CSCS coming up this weekend. On the 17th is the Sunday, right? Yeah, the 17th will be at Shannonville, so I'll be there to catch that. Another thing that I always love is our local rally racing scene. Maple Leaf Rally Club does an amazing job hosting some really world-class events, which are usually not more than a 2-hour drive from here, maybe 3 hours. We honestly have some world-class roads for rally just north of us, so we're in a great spot for motorsports here.
There's a hilarious picture. She went on a rally thing, and she sent us a picture over it. It had her car just buried in dust. Like, you couldn't even see the paint. It was just dust, right?
That's a sign of a good time.
Such is life when you're a rally fan.
Yeah, no kidding.
You get used to dirt being everywhere.
Lung dirt, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. No, I find that interesting, just because. How do you think that all fits in terms of like with DJing, guitar, cars?
Well, I mean, I just like being around people who are obsessed with something.
Okay.
I think we all waste too much time thinking, not that big picture questions are not worth thinking about, but I think that especially these days, people spend a lot of time kind of thinking about the state of things and focusing on the big picture.
Amen. Right.
And it's good to think about it. It's not good to obsess about it. It's good to think about it sometimes, and it's good to be active politically for matters that you care about. But we also need to have fun, and we need a project.
Right.
We're human beings. We need to work on something.
There's enough to stress about in life. And enjoy
so
it while you
people,
can. Yeah.
So many people just fall into
Life's
the trap.
too short.
Exactly. Just you go to work, you go home, you're tired, you kind of watch some Netflix and go to bed. But I like it when people are obsessed with something to the point where they will give all their free time to it and pay money for it and go in debt.
So here's something here.
World.
You are busy enough as it is, I'm sure, between all the things that you're doing. With all that combined, how do you stay grounded? What do you do to kind of ease up and just sort of reset yourself?
Caffeine.
Okay, there you go.
What I do to kind of ease up and reset, honestly, I just go home and I listen to music that I like. I have records, I'll go and DJ some vinyl and just kind of relax. And I like to do things that are new. Sometimes I think with every creative, you get into a creative block sometimes where you're just tired. And when I feel like that, I try something new, literally anything. It could be I've been learning a lot about electronics and working on stuff like soldering and getting better at that.
She's into ham radio now all of a sudden.
Well, free time is your time, right? We only have so much time to be alive on the planet.
You're right.
We have to waste a lot of it sleeping and a lot of it working and doing stuff for money that we don't want to do. So the rest of it, don't you want to do something with that? Because otherwise, if you don't, at the end of your life, all you did was sleep and work and watch Netflix.
No, you're right. You're right. You have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the ham radio thing, I saw that you also kind of created your own homemade speaker. You tested it with different music and stuff. I was watching that. I thought that was great.
COVID. That was during COVID.
Hilarious.
We were just in quarantine, and I had some copper wire and some paper and random other things, just old broken electronics that I took apart to get various parts out of it.
Yeah.
I just made this stupid little speaker, and I just did a little contest on my Instagram stories where people could submit a song, and I would play it on the little speaker. And if it blew the speaker up, you win. You didn't win anything because it's COVID. But that was fun. That was really fun. I recently found that in my archives just because I was kind of what did I do during that whole time we were trapped inside? And it got me thinking I should build a bigger one. So at some point when I have the time, there will be a fart can sound system coming soon to a YouTube video near you. And my goal this time, I want it to be bigger. I'm going to have an entire
Do
DJ
it.
set that I'm gonna play on it. We're gonna blow that shit the fuck up. It's gonna be horrible. It's gonna sound disgusting, but it's for me it'll be fun. So maybe people want to watch.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I keep going. I swear to God, I think that's amazing that you're testing all that and trying it all out. Because you're right, life's too short. Like do what you can, and whatever interests you, do it for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to reset too. Like I don't know, pick up a violin or something. Like just something completely new and out of the box.
Yeah. Well, listen. So with all your DJing now and all the things you're into currently, you're kind of you're building this kind of strong Toronto vibe. What's next for you? What's for touring, producing, or any collaborations with other artists? Like what are you up to? What's your future plans? I know you've got this. Sorry, you mentioned the Track Factory.
Yeah.
So you have that, but what else do you got?
Well, we're going to continue to host Track Factory. Like I said, the next one is September 5th at IDK Social. We're aiming to have these monthly, so that'll continue. My fall project is I want to get a lot better at music production. That's always been a goal of mine, but I just haven't really had time to really dig into it over this past summer. So I picked up Ableton a while ago. It's just been sitting there on my computer, and I kind of barely use it. So I want to do a deep dive into that this fall. Once things start to slow down, I'll be putting out some music. And I would love to start really playing more outside of Toronto, too. I'd love to travel to other cities and DJ. These are kind of ways that I'm expanding my scope over the next year or so.
Cool. Yeah, I think I got an idea for you, though. I think you should be taking your guitar with you. Cranking it up in the DJ booth there and have that kind of nice combination of your guitar playing and your DJing spinning tunes. That is a number one seller. I think that's going to go.
You're not the first person that said that to me.
I'm sure I'm not, because you're that good of a guitar player. And I think you should be pushing that too as well.
Yeah, I'd love to maybe do a live set with, just play some solos over some tracks with some longer instrumental sections and that sort of thing. That's something that I'd definitely consider putting my time and energy into, providing I have more helpers. Loading and unloading gear. Because one of the reasons that I switched to DJing is because of how awesome it is to just walk up into the club with your USB.
I guess so. It's a light on the gear.
Yeah, it's great. Take the subway, backpack, USB headphones.
Put it in your pocket and you're good to go.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that unironically that would be fun and something I would consider getting into.
Cool. No, I like that. Okay, well, I know I'm kind of taking a look at the time here, keeping track of things. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this has been great. We've discovered I'll say it again, you are a very interesting character that you could be pulling back more layers, I'm sure, and discovering more of you.
We're just scratching the surface. On
exactly. And Jeremy, I'm sure you know. Yes, for sure.
During COVID, when she was locked into like a house and living in the same house with her for a period of time, it was like madness. Every day there's a new thing, whether it's making bread or just all this madness stuff. Like she started galloping like a horse through the house. Like just,
I wanted to see how fast I could run on all fours.
Yeah. She actually worked on it. So she would we'd be sitting there and all of a sudden she'd go like a horse galloping past. Like it was really, really funny. But yeah, there's never short of jokes when she's around. And, but wow. Like she's a deep person, like very, very highly studied and accomplished at whatever she wants. So yeah, sky's the limit, right?
That's all I've ever heard about you in terms of just like what you put your mind to and you do it. And I think that's great. I think for young adults, for them to achieve some sort of level of success, I get really moved by that. I think that is fantastic. In fact, like I get kind of, I don't know how do you describe it. Like I don't be surprised that my eyes kind of well up because I'm happy for you. You know what I mean? I think that's great that you pursue that, and I think that's like when young adults, when you strive for something because it's as you say, it's easy to sit back and watch Netflix and do nothing.
Yeah.
But when I see people striving and working hard and disciplined, I think that is fantastic, and I think hats off to you for doing all that you do as Sam.
Thank you for the compliment.
Sam, you are.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's great.
I think our time's up here, Jer.
Yeah, I think we did it. Another one in the can.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we'll leave it there, and so I'm going to just say that's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Oh, I was hoping you'd go with the two Ronnies. Oh man.
Oh no. Oh God. And it's a goodbye from him. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Maybe next time. We'll get that next time.
Spoiled.
Okay. Sam, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. It's been great having you here.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Always happy to be here. Happy to chat with you guys.
Great.
Awesome.